Hi.
Hey, brother.
Aloha.
Aloha to you too. Aloha, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to this special holiday Monday. Right? Today is Monday, the
Oh,
18th of uh, January. I believe it's Martin Luther King Day. Yeah, around the nation.
yes, it is, man. Martin Luther
Huh.
King Day. Martin Luther King Day, a holiday, and a great man, Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah.
I wish we had. I wish we had a Martin Luther King Jr. right now. Um,
Yep.
yeah, amazing man, amazing man. Um, yeah. But anyway, what's up, Charles?
Nothing much, my brother. Sorry, I gotta
Good,
adjust. I gotta adjust my camera here for some reason. It's just
good
not.
evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this holiday Monday. Um, I actually was thinking about taking the night off tonight again. I'm getting lazy. No. And then we saw you guys post. We saw the post about Menehune Fishpond. We saw the post about the concern. I had not even. I did not know that the Menehune Fishpond was for sale.
Mhm.
So in my morning chat with Charlie, I asked what he thought about me bringing on Council Vice Chair Mason Chock because couple of reasons. Number one, he's the council vice chair. Number
Mhm.
two, Mason has been involved with Alekoko, the fish pond, Menehune Fish Pond, for many, 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 many years. He has
Right.
been involved with the cleanup, and so I figured, which I asked him. I knew it's late notice, but shot him a text, and he quickly agreed to come on. So he'll be our guest tonight to share what he knows about the Menehune Fish Pond and the sale. It's for sale for $3 million, man. $3 million, and I think for most of us that's born and raised here or that's been around for a long time, we're quite familiar with that fish pond, that whole area. So I was kind of surprised that it was for sale. I wish I had $3 million laying around. I know me and Charlie, we checked our finances this morning. We are gonna split it, but we fell a little short. We fell a little
Oh,
short.
no, the honesty. I mean, I'm very proud of what we've have collectively. We have enough for a Round Island bus pass. I mean, it's
I was thinking with what we had mustered together, combined in revenue income for me and Charlie,
yeah,
we could actually get a tandem kayak tour up the river, bro. That's as close as we're gonna get to owning that place.
yep.
But
But
anyway,
it's just first of all, if you do decide to buy it, you gotta have the love to do yard work. But just the picture alone and all them bushes, you gotta love yard work. You don't love yard work. Sorry, that property ain't for you.
yeah, yeah, well, yeah. But we'll let Mason cover a lot of it. I do know that the zoning over there wouldn't allow you to do much. I know there were some comments about get ready for the lineup of resorts, and no, that couldn't happen there. It's open zoned open, and there's a special treatment area layer on it, so very limited to what you can do. But 20 years from now, who knows? You could get that place rezoned. So it's critical, I think, that the state is and the county hopefully will be able to purchase that. So anyway, Peleke Flores, who when I spoke to Mason this morning, he suggested that he was going to try to get Peleke Flores, who's been very active with the fish pond and who has much knowledge about what's going on. And I he was going to try to get Peleke on. Anyway, now as I look at my oh, he was in the waiting room, and I think he departed. So looks like we'll get Peleke as well. So we'll have Peleke and Vice Chair Chalk on. Hopefully he decides to come back. I think I didn't let him in right away, but I'm sure he'll be back. I'm sure he'll be back. But
Who was
anyway, this is one of those once in a lifetime opportunities for government to step up, take care of an area that the cultural, historical significance of this area is off the charts. It's off the charts. It's so this is one of those areas that we got to do whatever we have to make sure we protect that area. But anyway, that's just kind of my own opinion. And we'll see what's happening. I mean, we just that this is the kinds of things. Once you lose, you'll never get back. And we've lost too much already, not just here on Kauai, but throughout the state.
Yep.
Charlie, you pretty much lived on every island, Charlie. Maui, Oahu. I mean, I'm sure you probably even had a little stint on a big island. I'll imagine. So
Yeah.
you've seen a lot more of that than many of us have, as far as the losing valuable cultural assets.
Well, I would like to say, I'm, being born and raised in Kalihi and spent most of my life in what you would consider a city area. But since moving to Kauai, I mean, when I was on Maui, I was in the city area in Kaului. Um, and then moving to, Kauai, going into a rural area like out in Waimea. I mean, because you know when you're in a small area because everybody knows everybody by name. I mean, that's just the way it is. Kauai is so special. It is so special. And when you have, I wouldn't say opportunities, but when you have really historic landmarks like this, people can say, it's sold, nothing gonna happen to it. But you gotta drive home the fact that once it's gone, it's gone. It's not gonna come back. And so, when you roll the dice on that, I mean, there have been very good benefactors in some areas that wants to perpetuate the legacy of the history for Kauai. And I noticed they're doing a lot of that down on the North Shore. When you get people like Chipper Whitman, leading the charge, trying to preserve areas like that, and the Nature Conservancy coming in and doing all of these things, it says a lot. And I just hope and pray, not so much for me, but my grandchildren and their children, one day they will come to Kauai to visit and they have the opportunity to go, you know, you talk about the Menehune Fishpond, everybody just like it clicks right away. They know what they're talking about. Waimea, we have the Menehune Ditch, you know, you have areas like the swinging bridge of Hanapepe, stuff like that, and salt ponds. When all of that goes away, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, we have a lot of those. I remember when we were fighting for the Kapaya swinging bridge,
Yeah.
and we were trying the council had really wanted the county to take the lead and fix that because it was one of those assets that once we lose, we don't get it back. And that played such an important role in our history for those people that lived in Hanamalu that worked at the mill or worked in Lihue. Before Kapaya was a booming town. They had everything in. They had a seamstress. They had a clean. They had everything. So the residents of Hanamalu, the old camp, used to use that bridge to cross to get to the town, the Kapaya town. Anyway, the flooding had destroyed the bridge, and we met with a lot of resistance from the administration at the time, our county administration. And then what happened that that was turned over to a nonprofit, and the nonprofit was able to raise the funds to get it fixed. But this is a different story. This is something that you cannot. We're talking about selling it to a private owner, and once you sell it and once it gets into the hands of a private owner, then it's difficult. You'll never get it back. You never get it back. So anyway, here's Peleke. I don't think I've ever met Peleke, so we're gonna meet him for the first. He's gone again. This must be the first time he's used Zoom. So we'll see. Hopefully he'll come back on. How in the world is this place is all of a sudden getting sold. Well, something very fishy, no pun intended. No, this property was owned. It was sold by the Okada family on Oahu owns it. They bought it from the Kanoa family. I guess I think it was Kanoa. Okay, here he is again. We'll let Peleke explain the history. Okay, he needs to. There he is. Oh, there's. I'm assuming that's Peleke Flores. What's up, bro?
Uh,
All right, now loud and clear, loud and clear. I'm Mel. That's Charlie. You're Peleke. Thank you for joining us tonight. I know Mason was telling me this morning that he was hoping he could come on, and I'm glad that you are on. Was he still coming on? Do you know if Mason was coming on?
as far as I know, yeah, from
Okay.
last I talked to him a little earlier.
Okay. Cool. Why don't we start while we're waiting for Mason? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your involvement. And we got a bunch of viewers that are interested. Hey, guys, watching. Now is the time. Hit the share button. I know Uncle Charlie put up the little paper. Now is the time. Hit the share button. This information needs to get out to everybody. Okay. What we want to do tonight, Flick, is we want to just let the people know what's going on. The rumors are already starting to fly. The resorts are going to be built. So what we wanted to do tonight was to hopefully bring the situation here for our viewers and get everybody up to speed. So appreciate you being here. So yeah, if you want to start, bro, just let us know who you are, your involvement, your history with the fish pond.
So, oh wow, okay. So, hello, name is Peleke Flores. All right, there, amazing.
There.
Sorry. And yeah, currently I'm the operations manager for a nonprofit organization, Malama Huli'ia, and kind of just jumped on board when I moved home from Oahu, working in restoring Heia Fish Pond, and our executive director from Alamuhulia caught wind that I was moving home and asked if I could jump on board with them, knowing that they're going to get a nonprofit was going to get a 20-year lease to help uh, further the mission of removing mangrove from Huli'ia stream, so but within Alakoko Fish Pond. And yeah, so I've been on board for about 2.5 years now, going on, yeah, a little bit over 2.5 years. And
All right. Well, thank you and welcome again, Council Vice Chair Chock. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for snagging Peleke as well. I was really happy
Yeah,
to see his name pop up in the waiting room. I was thinking, all right, we have full crew tonight.
yeah, yeah.
So
No, no, absolutely.
basically, amazing. Like I was explaining before you popped on. We kind of want to. The news broke on Facebook. Someone posted the ad, and then I think for the most of us we didn't know, and now we all know. But we wanted to kind of clear the air with facts, with what's actually happening, because honestly, I don't know. I cannot answer the question. So, however you guys want to do this, Mason, you guys want to, Mason, why don't we let you bring us up, kind of up to speed, bro?
Easy. Yeah, yeah. Thank you both. You guys do a excellent job. Everybody, they know where to go to. They're like, Mel, what is going on? Uncle Charlie, what's going on? So I appreciate that you folks serve as the hub. It's like at least I get one layer of protection there before I get bombarded. But no, mahalo for the time. I know that many people are concerned, about this recent listing. And my hope was that Peleke and I might be able to one give you folks sort of a little bit of a breakdown of the situation, but also I think what's really important for the community is to because I've saw some of the posts really asking about, so how can a vahipana, a sacred place, be sold. And so maybe we can shed some light on that. I think Native Hawaiians have been suffering from some of those challenges for since the Mahele. And so but I think it's important also for me to kind of just state that I I've been with the organization since the beginning, before it was a nonprofit. And it was just a project with Kaiola Canoe Club, and the intention was for us to just kind of take and do something, right? And there's been lot of talk over the last 2 generations about the need of our Ainakumuvai, the watershed management. Now Willie watershed, Hui formed back in the 2000s, and then so that's kind of where this all started for us. And I've been active with the organization, as you know, Mel. But the disclosure is that, I've recently left Malama Huli'ia. And mostly it's been, to sort of separate myself from the current situation. Because when we heard that, the property might be going to market, for us having a 20-year lease, we felt like, we didn't want to jeopardize the work that we've garnered, and then the support that we've gotten from the community. And so in order to kind of look at all the funding options and look at how it is, we might be able to secure it for the community, I thought it was in the best interest for me to separate myself, being an elected official. So I'm no longer the president of Malama Huli'ia. Uh, you know, I, I I take calls, uh, and help wherever asked. But I really felt it was important, and to that end, um, as any discussion does move forward with the county or state, I've chosen to recuse myself from those that process, just to keep this, transparency and lack of and the conflict of interest off the table. And it has been volunteer, it continues to be. um, and so other than that, I think that the people have asked, is the listing true? Is it real? And yeah, it is. It's 3 million is what it's being marketed for. um, we back about maybe 4 months ago, maybe 5 months ago, I asked the Trust for Public Land, which is, one of the entities, nonprofit entities that handles these kinds of acquisitions, to help us as an organization look at what the potential is, or how we could put a funding strategy together, not knowing what the listing price would be. And so that's kind of where we are right now. We've done, I think the organization has done a lot of homework, and has talked to stakeholders both at the state, federal, and county level, and community members about the potential sale. As you can see, it's 102 acres. Um, we have done a significant amount of work on the property. Peleke, who has huge amounts of experience as a cultural practitioner, but from Heia Fish Pond on Oahu for many years as the caretaker. We brought him back home in order to look at this property, and they've been able to clear more than 26 acres of mangrove, which is really what the organization's mission is really to look at how it is we can restore the whole watershed, because what happens at Mauka and all the way down, they work together, right? And they have impact. And so we're really proud of the work that we've accomplished. I will say, we're not the only stewards that have access to this property. There have been caretakers and families for generations now. The Rego family, the Yadaos, all from the area, old time families who have contributed to that area. And still to this day, we work in partnership with them to see a future. So we, from a Vahipana standpoint, I just wanted to say, and I'll hand it over to Peleke, is, it's still the main port. Traditionally, Hulia, right, was the main port. It still is today. This is where all of our ali'i came to visit. They came in through that port, right? Through Nawiliwili Kalapaki. We have 5 diverging ahupua'a that connect to this watershed, and it's important to know the Vahipana that are around the navigational points, the Kalani Pu'u to our navigational points of Keopaweo, Hoku'ula, Hokule, all of this, all the way to Haupu, all very important in our lineage and in our cultural history. We also have the largest um, heiau, right? Some of you know, right under or right next to Kauai High School, Kuhiau Heiau, right, which sits on Kalaiamea, the whole Lihue, was our largest heiau. So this was a traveled, very highly traveled area by our ali'i, by our kupuna, many generations connected to again this Vahipana. And so it does behoove us to look at the importance of preserving it. When we started the project, it was merely to see what we could get done initially by clearing mangrove from Pu'ali. We did that by hand, and we knew that alekoko or alakoko was the gold, was the target for the community because of the pride that the community and history that it presented to us. So that is why we're continue to be there, and hopefully, if things work well, which I'm anticipating and I'm hopeful for, we can come to some agreement with the community and the landowners to move forward on an agreement outside of the 20-year lease, and that would be a transfer of sale. To me, that is the outcome that I think would hold this in perpetuity for the community. So I'd love to be able to turn the time over, a little bit time over to Peleke because of his understanding of who held the local ia traditionally, because I know there was some discussion on that. I will say this though, from an agricultural standpoint, these fish ponds serve multi-purpose, right? They're not just historical, not just cultural. But when a well-maintained local ia was at its hilt, at its prime, you could produce about 365 pounds per acre of fish. All right. This particular fish pond is one of, I don't know, like about 6 or 7 in that area. It's the largest, one of the largest in the state of Hawaii at 32 acres. So just imagine how much fish this pond could produce one day, or in the future. So with that, Peleke, I'd love for you to be able to share some of its history.
I kind of want to ask a question for both of you first, if I may. So the pond itself is about 32 acres, as you just mentioned. The overall acquisition is 102. So is the sale encompassing the entire 102 or just the fish pond, that area itself?
Yeah, it's 2 TMKs actually, Uncle Charlie, and it is the whole amount of the 2 TMKs combined, which make up the 102, which actually traverse. It's interesting how this, these properties get divvied up, but people say, how can you own the water? And they don't own the water, but they actually technically own some of the land underneath the river and the embankment on the opposite side. Yeah. And I think the properties, when the Mahele happened, the properties that were, I think, that really got transferred more primarily were the ali'i held properties, right? They were, not held in trust as much as the governmental properties, for instance. So that's what I believe happened here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. I did want to just jump in real quick. I know you mentioned it, Mason, about the caretakers go back generations, and I know you mentioned the Regos and the Yadaos, and I wanted to reiterate that in fact this resource or this asset has been maintained for generations, and I appreciate and mahalo you for mentioning those 2 families. I'm not sure if they're anymore. I personally know when we were much younger, when the Regos were and the Yadaos were really kind of like the stewards of that place. We were able to use that place, and so yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for recognizing the generations before that did so much so much work with the caretaking and everything. So appreciate that, man. Peleke.
Yeah. Um, where you like me start? Where we going with this? No. Uh, was that no? Sorry, it's on.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think Mason brought us up to where we're at. I think I'm really interested in knowing. It hit me when you said that you came from Oahu restoring other fish ponds. So maybe you can start with that. What was your assignment, or what was your mission when you came here to Kauai with Ale Koko?
Actually, um, when I was trying to move back home, back to Waimea, I was actually going back into the taro patch up in Makaweli Valley and stuff like that, and going back, helping Brother Kaina out. And then Sarah asked in the meantime, like, oh, if you want, like, we're gonna get the lease into the fish pond, and we'd love to have your experience in there. And that's when I started going part-time and get to offer a full-time position. And I really wanted to keep the network. When I was on Oahu for about 8 years, I was working with Heia Fish Pond and as operations manager over there. And that fish pond is 88 acres, double the size of this fish pond, and we had a lot of mangrove there. And so being able to see the two was kind of like in the realm, but starting from ground zero, like, oh, we're almost done with the mangrove on Oahu. And when I came home, it's like, dang, we got to start all over again. But I thought it was a good thing because, at least for Alakoko and the culture wise and just community wise, like, Alakoko is the biggest fish pond on Kauai. And being able to, I never, like, I was raised up on the west side, so I never knew nothing but it from the lookout. And as it was, as with all the mangrove there, and but as I got to jump into the history books and looking at pictures and seeing what it was, it's like, wow. And being on Oahu really helped, because the research we had to do for that fish pond kind of helped me know where to look to find research for this fish pond and many others across all the islands. And yeah, so like we're still looking at a lot of the old Hawaiian newspapers and what didn't get translated yet, but from the stories that talk about the start of the fish pond with Alakoko, the chief, and his sister Kalalelehua, and then being helped by the Menehunes, and there's a big gap in between there, and then it goes up to the Mahele time, and it's during the Kamehameha dynasty, I guess, and like Princess Ruth Ke'elikolani, and then going to Kamamalu, and then when Kamamalu took the Kanoa estates at it for a long time, and then into the Okada family, and yeah, like within the Okada families with the Rego and the Yadaos, and yeah, there's a lot of leasers throughout the way, even with the Kanoas. So like, and now get us helping leasing with the mission we get with the nonprofit. So I'm trying to slowly put that timeline together and learn through there, and just more bringing the experience of removing mangrove. One thing good that I got to learn on this cycle, we had some equalizers helping us. Besides on Oahu, we would 100% by hand, removing, cutting, and burning, and moving rocks by hand, and restoring the wall. So kind of doing that here and helping pump up the community and getting into the schools, especially, and the teachers. That was really, I don't know, not driven for me. Felt good to like be able to share with the kids and see them open up and start learning more about fish ponds. There's a lot of people know about taro patches, and at least over here, the salt beds and just ocean stuff, but rarely in that middle part and how it's important to the Ahupua'a system and just a dying art. So kind of helping save that and having that happen. This happened during, especially this whole last year with the pandemic, and all. It's like kind of a good realization for sure. People like systems like this, if it was still running, like we had more fish ponds around the island, like the amount of food that would still be there, and we'll be good, at least food wise, like how the kupuna did way before Western contact and stuff like that. But now that we have technology to help mix it up and be with the modern times, that's our generation like mode to attach to the kids and stuff like that. A lot of people don't like really jump inside the mud and cutting mangrove and stuff like that. It's hard to motivate people. Like, yeah, guys, show them the vision, show the vision. After 20 minutes, they're like, what are we doing? But so it takes time.
Hey, I get the question that get asked all the time is, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but who built the fish pond, man? Who built the fish pond? We know what the stories are, the Menehune, but through your research, because I've tried the research, and everywhere I go, they say the same thing. We don't. No one knows who built the fish pond, the wall.
Get two eras, like the one of the stories talk about Alakoko. Alakoko was one of the chiefs, and then Kalalehua, his sister, and they would go to the Menehune chief and ask him if they can help build a fish pond. And they actually had two fish ponds being built at the same time. The sister fish pond is across the river, and then Alakoko. And one of the stories called him Pepe Ava too. We're trying to still research more on that. But the Kane Menehune went build Alakoko, and then the Wahine Menehune went build Kalalehua. And it actually, in one of the stories, said it was incomplete because Alakoko never had break the, what's that called, agreement in what they were supposed to do. So the second round was the Makainana, the people came together and helped try to finish what the Menehune started. So the first round of rocks was said to have been brought out from Makaweli. And then the second round came from Koloa side, so Poipu Koloa side, and then that area right around there. So one thing is good I want to do hopefully in the future is that I heard that nowadays they get this this meter that can check the mineral content in the rocks, and if you know where the quarry source is, you can match that rock and go to the quarry and match, and if or take the meter, and if they both match the mineral content, they can kind of say that, oh yeah, this rock came from Makaweli, and then that would kind of shut everybody else down. Like, see, I mean, when they did bring them on from Makaweli, or like, so kind of hoping to use modern technology as times go by, but as much as we can find, there's still more. That is as far as we got with the Menehune stories in a nutshell. And the people there's still the people that did parts, and then as time went on from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, when had the tsunami and other flood events, the walls got broken in certain spots, and then those modern time caretakers tried to fix it with like cement bags and whatever rocks they had at that time too. So you can see the difference between the rocks. We haven't really got to examine the rock wall yet because we're just focusing on the mangrove, but the wall is supposed to be way bigger than that. And then all the old timers been talking to, they've seen the wall before the mangrove, says like 5-6 feet tall. They used to jump off the wall right into the river, and right now you jump off the wall, it's only about a foot high right into mud flat. So mangrove really did some damage to that. Hopefully we can start confirming stories and matching up the puzzle as we go along. But right now we're still only 2 years into the project, and we just cleared the mangrove just to see the wall now, and hopefully to be able to step more further into that, and restoring the wall will help answer more questions with the stories and confirm things here and there as we go on.
It's been a living archaeological and cultural study for us. We're on hands-on learning, and we're really bringing the community with us. So we've been engaging our education system, with KS and the Department of Education to have some place-based learning opportunities for the next generation, so that they can not only own it and own their environment and get active with it, but they can learn about its past. And so as we dig around, we remove something and we look at something, and we're discovering theories. And I know Peleke, he's always thinking about, wow, this is why the Kauai is over here, or the spring is right here, and in the locations of everything. So it's been really a fun project to work on for me personally.
Awesome. The history of that place is so amazing. I know Charlie and I was talking about it earlier, and he'd read something where they had kind of, maybe you want to touch on that, Charlie, about the rock and what you had found.
Yes, I was just reading up, being proficient since the pandemic, being proficient in Google. I went to Google University, and I was just reading about how the rocks of build the wall wasn't actually from that area. It was brought in, but and it was hand passed, and the legend was because of these Menehunes. And so I said, gee, so small. They must have had about 4 million Menehunes because the rock came about 25 miles away. So I'm trying to think, it amazes me, and I kind of would like to know how they get it, because, it's just like the pyramids in Egypt. It's well defined, put together, yet they didn't have modern machinery to do that. So, Peleke, would you, from what you could see so far, what can you tell us how the rocks itself to build the wall was crafted? Is it just look like river rock that was placed there, or are there dimensions that is so precise even you might be kind of wondering, gee, how did this come here?
Right now, from what we can see, only that 1 to 2 foot layer that's sticking out of the mud, it's all like regular size pohaku. But from what I was reading, that the ones that is more deeper down, like 6 to 8 feet down at the base of the wall, might be the same kind pohaku as the Menehune ditch, to show that it was the kind. But we cannot confirm that yet because we never got to core down and double check. And the archaeological reports doesn't really show that much detail yet either. So like the only way is once we get to that point, we can make a little core sample just to be able to see the rocks down there and then kind of repack it back up. Because in a way, that mud flat is kind of holding the loose rocks into place right now. But until we can get those loose rocks set good, they can hold themselves, and that whole mud flat can go away and the river can take back and just be a water wall. But going on rocks and being able to like build pretty much on all the different islands, like, and then from Maikupuna, like it pretty much 3 ways that the rocks could have made it there. And plenty more little talk about the Menehunes passing the Pohaku, with plenty different sites on all different islands. And then another way is that the Kahuna went help, they Kahea and they asked the Pohaku, and the Pohaku made it down there. And then the people went put them together. And then the third way is the Makainana, the people came together and hand passed themselves too. And they was close by water, putting them on canoes and floating them and just hali line and just moving and being on Oahu and practicing with people too. Like we was moving rocks at least quarter mile sometimes, and like hand to hand one time we got to move with 2,000 people. And just to see that vision of 2,000 people working together that don't do this for their regular job, and imagine like, okay, back in the days when the Pooh and Kani and everybody said to come out and everybody knew what they was doing and went past rock, they must have been flying, because the amount of work we did with 2,000 people first timers compared to an average size people, I believe before everybody was like stronger to it, knew how to work. So they could have probably did quadruple the amount we did for that first time. I believe if we kept practicing, we would know, like we would get more closer and closer, like how our kupuna did them by hand. So I don't know if that answered the question, but it's kind of like where.
Well, it's I think, well, you kind of helping me because I know I should have listened more when I went to Kamehameha. I was too busy wondering what was for lunch, I really wish I took more advantage, because my granddaughter, I believe, worked on the Heia project with you, Tiana Marquez, and she's always telling me, "Oh, Papa, it's so much fun." And I guess it also everyone becomes a student as they practice, right? As they start to rebuild, they start to learn history that way. So
Kapaan definitely becomes a teacher.
Yeah. So it's like if you get your hands on, you have a tendency of retaining more and understanding, because it's hands on. It's not like you're in a classroom setting. So, okay.
Yeah, just going off of that is that's where they all know y'all coming makahana ka ike, like keep doing, and then boom, like some people tell like, oh, it's an idea popped up. It's like, well, I don't, one kupuna thought is like definitely not an idea. Like, our people been doing this for so long, that bloodline is still there. It's probably just you remembering back, like you reconnecting something that you used to do a long time ago, and just keep doing them, and then stuffs pop back and start connecting. We start guiding back to how it was in a way.
Well,
Yeah.
I just hope that please don't think anything's wrong with me. If you see me staring at Kentucky Fried Chicken, I looking at the wall, how they put up the side of the wall to the you know, please.
You know what is so funny is that we spent a lot of time up in the river up near Malawa. My family live in the valley, but for me it was just the Menehune built it. That was what we were taught. That's just what we understood. There was never we never questioned. It was just in our minds growing up till today. For me, that's what I believe, man. Just until somebody can prove otherwise, that's just the way I was taught. That's just the way it's just too perfect to be done by non Menehune. So anyway, Mason, I know I don't know if you what how much you can talk about because you're on the council, but where do we go from here? What's the plans? I know you mentioned something, maybe partnerships, but or did you have anything to share about the Alekoko itself?
Yeah, no mahalo. I feel like one, we've been really blessed, right? One, for to have the Okada family open it up to this organization and grant us the 20-year lease, and I think we're only 3 years into that, 2.5 years into that lease, and things are moving. I can only say that my involvement with just everything that's happened with this project has been somewhat through divine intervention. It's just things are moving with it, and so I'm very yeah, I have a good outlook, and while I see some of the posts like how can they do this, I also think there may be opportunity here, and you know along with that divine intervention, it requires hard work. And so I think that as an organization, we've done our due diligence to build partnerships, with the right stakeholders. And at this point, to a large extent, it's about, what does the community want? How does that message go forward, and how does the powers that be respond to it, right? And so to answer your question more specifically, Mel, right? You're familiar that the state has legacy land funds for these kinds of acquisitions. And while we might be late to the application process on that's an opportunity for us. Um, we also know that the open space funds with the county are an option. Those are also slated for acquisition that fall in line with this particular um, property has been on the list for many years, actually, on the open space list. So that is an option. We've reached out to, OHA and KS and others that we believe are our stakeholders in this process, and it's all favorable. It's about timing, and it's about, you know, if we can appeal to the sellers, the Okada family, if that's where they want to go. Um, because unfortunately, when you talk about government funds or public funds or even fundraising, those things often take a while, right? They don't just happen overnight. Like, can I just write a check? They sometimes they take months to a year or years to secure. And so I think really what it comes down to is, with the Trust for Public Lands, is if they can, as our representatives for this project and for that area, to ask with the family members from the Okada Trust if they're willing to negotiate and come up with something, right? And it's just gone on the market last week. I'm sure, like any other landowner, they're seeking the highest opportunities and what's in their best interest, which I cannot fault for them for. So, with that, I guess, like I said, I'm going to leave this one in Keakua's hands because I feel like the work that Peleke folks have done in the community and that we've supported for years can and will speak for itself.
I did want to share when Mel told me about this morning. I reached out to my niece, who's the CFO for the Nature Conservancy, and she said that there's a lot that's being done with those generous donors of acquiring parcels and keeping it preserved for ages to come, and a lot of it is taking place down on the North Shore now. A lot of preservation out there, and she shared that they may want to take a look because there's some donors that are very maritime. They have the interest in Hawaiian maritime. So this might be something that don't toss it out the window yet, but this might be something that they may want to look at. So that was something, and I feel bad, and I apologize to my niece Holly. I called her like 7 in the morning on holiday. I could hear like hello, and usually she don't answer like that, but she would hello. I said, I'm sorry, baby, but Uncle gotta ask one real important question. Would it be in the interest or would it be something that you folks would look at? And she says, yeah, we can take a look at it. So I sent her all the information. So hopefully, because I've seen what Chipper Wickman has done, and he's crewing, a lot of the things, even like how they're controlling it out there. It's amazing. And even, and I understand you have some slides of this. Mel, you wanna let Mason put some slides up. They can take a look and
I can do that, yeah, if you don't mind. Just to share with the viewers sort of some before and after. I think it kind of speaks for itself. But here you go. And let's see, slideshow. Click on the start. So just real quick, these are this is our mission, right? To educate, advocate, lead the community efforts to remove mangrove in this river and establish the native wetland ecosystem. So even as we've cleared the mangrove, a lot of our project has been to restore and plant native species to the wetlands. And because of it, we've seen a lot of the native, not only fauna, but animals come back to the area as well. So, ooh, that's interesting. I think it's captioning. Okay, this is one picture from the 1920s. Kind of an interesting. You can see much of what we're starting to see now being uncovered with a what we believe could be a holding pond, right where the first Makaha is showing up there, and then also how wide and vast the river. One of the reasons why we looked at this project was started with the canoe paddlers from Kaiola Canoe Club, because they were complaining about not being able to take their va'a down the river as they once did, up to 5 canoes and turn around. They were down to 2 or 3 canoes being able to go up the river, and it was because the mangrove is very invasive, as we know, and it not only spreads and goes 40 feet up high, but also spreads out laterally, and it accretes land. So what it does is it destroys native and ecosystems. So this is the lookout. I used to come here in the 70s with my mother when she worked at Kauai Surf, and we stopped here before, and I used to be able to go to work with her, and we'd look at this site. And it's changed even back from the 70s to now, and you can see the mangrove is overtaking the whole area. But it's always been a dream to see this restored on a personal level. This is part of the process. I hope you can see these pictures, from
yes.
January 2019, and then slowly as we worked to February, you can see some of the clearing occurring and how tall those were. We had some really good volunteers and stewards come and help us, not only just by hand but also machineries, to contribute to this project. On the bottom left-hand corner, you can see April 2019. So we're talking about just in a matter of months how much work we were able to accomplish, right? And I mentioned up to 26 acres. And then you can see the kuapa pretty, here in July 2020, showing itself, right? And this is you can tell the difference between the tides there and the difference it makes there. But huge changes, I think, in a short time. And if you ever, and you guys are welcome to, as long as we're there, to come down and visit. We love to have you folks come and visit as we've opened it up for other visitors to reconnect to this place. I won't talk too much about this because I covered it and what we've done. I would just say, we've had thousands of volunteer hours to the project. And what I'm really proud of and what I think it's been doing is mobilizing the community. These are just some of the pictures and this, of course, pre-COVID pictures of all of the educational programs, all the way from our preschoolers at Punanaleo to the college students at KCC who have contributed many hours, and not only just like hard labor, but coming out and doing science-based work, GIS work, mapping work, and studying the ecosystem. So again, it truly has become a living, learning center, I think, for the community it kind of inspires me. And that's why I think for us as an organization, we like to see that perpetuated. I'll just mention real quickly, one of the things that we've kind of ventured to recently is, and Peleke has been super active in this, I'll let him talk about it more, is our partnership with KS to do virtual teaching, and being able to, we're all trying to figure out how do we work with in education now that the environment has changed. And so slowly but surely, we've been putting these programs together. Peleke, you wanted to say anything on this? This is right up your alley. More him than me.
Yeah, especially with all the COVID stuff, a lot of the nonprofit organizations and everybody's going into virtual huaka'is, virtual field trips, since a lot of the students cannot travel. So we work with KS to build curriculum off of the fish pond, and that can cover all the different standards from the HA curriculum stream, so that when the teachers use it, it can be like really, it can align with their curriculum and be double, like can be still covering the standards, but still kind of using something else to get the kids flowing. And then in a way, hopefully still using this virtual curriculum to be our pre-visit, so that when we can send this out, the kids can get on highlight of what Getful learned down there. When they come to the site, then they get reinforced, and then I can go a little bit deeper into stuff instead of teaching them only the surface level. So we're trying to use this in many different ways, and hopefully by the end of this month we can finish our whole 6 units with commitment schools. Right now we completed 1, and the other 5 are like all almost ready, and that'll be out for the public from anybody. As long as I'm trying to get it from, as long as that kid, well, mostly all the kids can use phone and computer now. So if they cannot read, and trying to get it to get voice so they can talk, and then the kids can still follow through the voice. But then if not, then you can just read along and follow the instructions through there from keiki to adult. And yeah, it's more of a learning experience and really attaching more background to the fish pond itself. And then that last slide was just all the different schools and community members that came to the fish pond just within the past 2 years. But yeah.
Hey, I'm just reading a lot of the comments and questions, and I see a lot of good questions, and there's no way I can get to all of them. But one of the questions, and it's intriguing as well to me, is this property was on sale or was up a while ago for 15 million or 12 million, and now it's all the way down to 3 million. Is there a reason? Was there any reason for that drastic drop in price? Was it just lack of interest or restrictions to develop? Any idea of why that would have happened?
What I can say is my understanding is that there is an appraisal from 2011 that was around that price of 3 million. And there hasn't been an appraisal since then. And so it's possible that the landowners are looking into utilize that last recent appraisal as a starting point. Um, I also think I mean, it's very clear that we have an interest, right, and in that area, and so do the caretakers. So combined, I think the landowners are in a position to just kind of see what's out there and what the interest is, and hopefully it takes us into this negotiation piece. So
Yeah, one of my concerns, and I think I'm reading a few of the comments share that concern, is how we are having, real estate right now is being purchased online. We got people on the mainland buying up property without even looking at the property, not even flying over here, just doing the transaction online, doing everything virtually. And my fear is, or my concern is, and I hope you can quell my concern. But what can we do as citizens? Uh, as far as helping the process so we can assure that these lands remain in the people's hands and not some private landowner, absentee owner, some rich millionaire that wants to add this to their portfolio. Is there anything that we as a community can do?
it's a scary time, right? We're seeing this happen on a daily basis. We're hearing the stories, right? Sight unseen, purchasing above the listing price. And I think it is a concern for all of us, when we look at anything, but particularly something that is in the public trust or public interest. So, I don't know what the answer is, because as I said before, when you look at public funding or even fundraising, they don't just materialize it. So we don't have a piggy bank with the $3 million right now. If I was to speculate as to what the community can do is one, appeal to the powers the stakeholders that can contribute to this to make it happen in the future, and obviously as soon as possible, because time might be running out. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think for many of us, based on the comments today, and I want to thank, I forgot who actually put up the initial post this morning, and I got tagged on it, but I appreciate, I'm so sorry, I don't remember who did it. For those of you that put it up, thank you. Because now we can start making phone calls, we can start doing our bit, but yeah, I'm concerned that this thing may fall. I don't want to say wrong hands because this is America, but I don't want this to fall in wrong hands. If you know what I mean, I really don't.
Let me ask you this question. I'm just blind shotting this question to both of you. So given the fact that now it's being entertained to be sold again, something must have happened with their trust to even entertain that position as it is right now. So would it behoove anyone to seek or is attempts being made right now to negotiate for seeing something to work out any type of, if they remain with the property itself, but do it sort of like in a, like for the tax benefits, tax breaks, and turn it that way. Because I think it would be beneficial, to everyone that I've seen that has given up land for the right to preserve it, has gotten huge tax breaks. I mean, is that avenue being sought at this time?
Yeah, absolutely. I think with the Trust for Public Land and HILT, or those organizations specialize in being able to work with willing sellers, landowners, to capitalize on the tax saving benefits, right? And depending on how it's acquired and transferred. So those things, as far as I know, have been discussed with the trust. for public lands and to whatever end. Again, I think those negotiations and conversations are at its infant stages with the trust. So, and I've now become much a step removed from it. So I can't tell you how far it's gone.
Well, one of the questions was, is this a sale, a real sale, a true sale? Yeah, this is fee simple. This is fee simple sale, man. This is not a lease. This is not a 20-year deal. This is a sale. I wanted to do something, and then I wanted to get you guys comments. There's a video on their brochure that I'm gonna. This is only 1 minute, so bear with me. The reason I want to do it is because there's a new feature in this Zoom thing that allows me to share a video with sound. I just want to I want to test it. But I thought this was an ultimate time to test it because it's a gorgeous video and it's only a minute long. So let me try it, okay? Bear with me, and I need you guys to let me know if you can hear the sound. But it's really nice.
Wow.
Did you
Oh,
guys hear the? Did you hear the music too?
yeah.
Okay. All right, it works, Charles. Man, we got a new tool now.
Well, you
Hey,
know, my only concern is this beautiful piece of property, beautiful piece. Congratulations, Peleke and Mixon for all the hard work that has gone, and to all the caretakers present as well as in the past to get it up to this point. You know, when I looked at that video, it reminded me of the Wailo River. Now, some people already know where I'm going with this. If we're going to preserve it, is preserve the fish pond and preserve the history. I don't think that area should be used for jet skis and all that other, like a water park. I mean, I think it would be doing it a disservice. I think, yeah, tours should be conducted, and Paleke, you can be, I'll probably be the worst one to try lead one tour because I'm gonna make things up. I just ain't that savvy on, that kind of stuff. But somebody's gonna have to be real knowledgeable in getting the true meaning of what it was like with of our ancestors up to now, up to present. And I think it's a worthwhile project. But someone put in a comment that time is against us, and so um, I'm hoping and praying that who's ever listening out there, what the ultimate goal is, and to preserve it and to put it in the hands of capable people that can restore, rebuild, and use it as a living classroom, if you want to call it that, because you've already had experience, like with commitment schools, to let it be a living classroom. I mean that. I mean, when we went back to our time, our living classroom was ROTC, right, Mason? Everything ROTC, this, ROTC, that. That was their way of disciplining us, ROTC. This is actually one. This is a living classroom. So
I will say, its zone conservation, yeah, Mel. So, I mean, technically, they cannot just build anything on it. Anyone who purchases it. So, I mean, that is, I think, something that I hope is being disclosed to every single speculator. It's also on the historical registry. So, there are limitations really to this property. It borders a wildlife refuge, right? And on top of that, you probably piss off a lot of people if you buy it. But there it is, man.
Hey,
And definitely,
Was the old canoe club? Is that part of that as well? That's all. I remember as I saw the video, it looks like it that little bridge area, that little small bridge. It looks like the old canoe club.
Right
The canoe.
before the right by the gate um of the entrance to the left side, the inner part. So a lot of the old timers saying where they used to go out with the canoe. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Some major memories, man. Major memories. Well, we gotta figure out a way. We'll be paying attention to this more and more now, and we'd love to, keep the people updated. But it would just be such a travesty to lose this. The requirements or the restrictions are probably one of the reasons that you don't see that. Because if this didn't have any restrictions, that'd be sold $3 million. Holy moly! But you could still you cannot control the water. You cannot control the water, but you could make that a nice little estate for a millionaire that could really lock out the locals or the public from a lot of the areas, and that's always the main concern. So, what do you guys think? What Palika, you think we got a shot at this, or what's your gut telling you? What's your gut? Mason,
I'm,
I know Mason's in a tough spot because he's got to, he's the guy that's got to go lobby this thing in the county council. But like, what's your gut telling you, man?
Definitely the political realm is tough, but on the Aina wise and being with the community, I already had plenty of people blowing up my phone and sending me the picture and say, "Hey, is this for real?" It's like, what can we do? What can we do? So I know get plenty of people waiting in the wings, all the Aina warriors out there, and everybody who got to at least put their hand or throw their blessing out for that place. And I think so far, I don't have any like not crunching, not out feeling that, oh shit, this is bad. Sorry, this is bad. But right
Yes,
now, it's like,
we don't swear here in the Mel and Charlie show.
but
No,
I,
we do.
I definitely feel like shucks, everybody keep putting out their good intentions, good mana, trying to pull it out and support where we can. Like we're gonna keep pushing, like we always started pushing till the hammer is slammed down. But for now, like when I first took this job, I told my boss, like, I know it's gonna be a double-edged sword. I know that 12 years ago it was on the newspaper for 13 million, and then we're gonna go inside here, shine this gem up, and then pass it back. Who knows what could happen after 20 years? But I told him at least for me coming inside here, I'm gonna try my best to do the best we can in a space and bring it back because it's undying, it's undying um, food system, at least that a lot of people can learn from, and then also going to use that 20 years forget the community as invested as can so that they become the stewards themselves. And when something really at the front door, hopefully the people rise up. We as an organization signed the contract for the 20 years, but once we listen and we got to be out, then hopefully the people will in a nice way help palliate that place and keep it for the people for the next 800 years. And we get
Well,
plenty to learn from it.
they say every cloud has a silver lining or whatever cliches there are out there. But I will tell you that after tonight, you educated a whole lot of people about fish ponds, about the history, about the culture. Both of you did. I remember, Mason, you probably remember when they were having the issues. It may have been before your time, but with the salt pond, when they were getting all the oil and the oil was going under, actually seeping from the vehicles into the ground, getting into the water table, getting into the ponds, and we would actually see the oil floating inside the salt pan. My point is that when Kaipo and I went down and learned about the salt pans, I lived all my life. I knew that they make salt over there. I didn't know how. We know they produce salt, but we didn't know how. And it was the Santos family that explained to Kaipo Singh and I, how it worked, how the system, that natural system, was producing salt. All of a sudden, you look at it differently. It becomes an irreplaceable gem like this fish pond. And I think we gotta keep spreading the word. We gotta take the high road. Now, the Okada family, nothing wrong with the Okada family. There's not a thing wrong with the Okada family. They happen to be the landowners that want to sell. So now is not the time to be bad mouthing anybody. It's really just to be working together for the common goal of securing this property for the people. That's it. That's the direction that we need to take. How was this land acquired? It was purchased. It was purchased by the Okada family from Oahu.
It
It was a
transitioned from
sale.
the canoa. Yep.
Yeah, it was purchased from the canoa, and so there's nothing. It's a land deal. They're selling the property, and there's an opportunity for us to get it. That's where it's at. So
And definitely, this is the gem for Kauai. There's plenty other fish ponds too, and one movement within this is like showing people that if we could get the most bust up fish pond back up running again, then every single fish pond around our island can get restored too. And then everybody within their community can start doing their research, knowing where fish ponds was, because that's one vital stuff. Because the more fish ponds we get, the more baby fish we get. The more baby fish we get, the more you boost the wild population. The more wild population we get, the more labaitas we get again. And then the circulation come back again. So it's all connected within the system. From the freshwater down to the brackish into the salt, our reefs, everything. So it's gonna come. Our salt beds, our lo'i pa'akai, lo'i kalo. We get choke stuff on Kauai that we malama gonna be back up there again.
and I tell you, man, you give me an idea for a show where we get representatives from all the different components and just Charlie, you called it something earlier tonight. You said a teaching. What did you say? Make this a teaching or it's a living school. I love that, man. That's just I love that. A living school where Keiki can come up, and not only the Keiki, the old ones too, and learn. I
No,
just
the reason I say that, because people like me, give me a book, I don't can handle classroom. You
yeah.
know, it's like church. You can study the word, but music is the one that carried me through. Gotta have music in the church. This would be one arm that if you can get the students to actually go there and be a working classroom, they get a better understanding. Because you can teach them in a classroom, but that environment might be a little bit too mundane for them to keep their interest. And
Our
that's
locals,
yeah.
yeah, our local people, our island people, they like using the motor skills, the touch, the feel, the taste, the look, the hear, and then that attached to the brain, and like you never forget. It's harder to forget, but yeah, when it's just look and read and then back, it's like so much misconnections that plug us into the aina, and that's right before COVID, man. We had a couple of teachers getting in there and really wanting to get their curriculum intertwined, and I was trying hard to make sure their standards are hit so that they can justify why they're coming down and using that place as an outdoor lab. Like this is the classroom. We don't need one shelter. Okay, you guys get the shelter at school, come outside here. And yeah, I was trying to customize it to science, to math, to Hawaiian studies, whatever. Even English teacher was like, I was kind of hard time with English because I was like good at English, but the English teacher was like, no, the experience they have down there, they can write about that. Like, perfect, we got this then. But science was like looking at invasive species, and instead of them dissecting frogs and owl pellets from the continent, they can dissect tilapia right there and just see the gonads, look at how fertile stuff, and see how tilapia is affecting the fish pond. So it's all place-based learning, and they can tell, like, next time you see them, oh, that's some bad thing, get that out because that can attack this, this, and this. And then it starts really flowing. And if they don't come to be a scientist, at least they learn on life skill. They learn how to clean fish. So you get two parts going, so it's
I like sign up for your class, man. I want to sign up. Me and Charlie would sign up for your class. I think Charlie, that's one class that I think we could pass, bro.
No,
guarantee. The only way you gonna fail if you don't show up.
I gonna try to teach how to put on hook on the line.
All good, yeah.
I'll cut open the tilapia, Charlie. You can deal with the gonads. You take care of gonads, okay? I bet if you can, never mind. Hey, man, that hour went by quick. Any closing thoughts? We'll start with you, and then we'll have Mason close out.
It's like to tell everybody mahalo for like being on it for you guys, for inviting us onto the show. So I'm on Facebook, so I wasn't really sure what was this. I thought it was on radio station, so, but when I get Instagram, but but definitely mahalo and mahalo for all the Aina warriors standing in the wing and wanting to support the organization and the fish pond and the Aina itself. Yeah, hopefully just keep that aloha in there. Throw that good mana out because then things gonna manifest and things gonna happen the way it should. But mahalo nui.
Right on. Mason?
No, mahalo for the opportunity to share the good work that's occurred since its inception. This project has been an inspiration to me, but not just me, to so many, I think, on the island and in our community. And you know, I don't know. I actually have good feelings about this. It could. I mean, I think the worst thing that could happen actually right now is one. We don't find the conversations that are necessary and established a mechanism for trying to secure this property. But it could be that the landowners could just say, you know what, no, we don't want to sell it anymore too. And which could leave us out anyways. So I think that Kiakua has granted us, has blessed us significantly, this community, with this opportunity. And so, most of the work that I've been doing is just helping to guide that and listen to what the next steps are. And through this venue and others, I think when the time is right, the community will know where they need to voice their support, and it will occur. So, and thank you for allowing that to happen tonight.
Hey, Mason, before we go, people are asking, how can they get in touch with the organization? Is there a website, email that if people needed to reach out and offer some assistance or some prayers, how can they get in touch with the organization?
Well, the website address is malamahuleia.org, and and you can reach all of our contact information, or Peleke's and Sarah's contact information, via the website. And there's, I think, even a contact form where you can sign up for the newsletter, and you can even directly email us, and willing to talk to anybody here. And even the suggestions with nature conservancies are things I take to heart. I think we should look into. We got to look at turn over every rock, basically. That's the approach that I believe our board, our executive board, is looking at securing the option to moving forward.
Right on.
Check out our Instagram too. I believe we have a Facebook too, Instagram, and then definitely get on the newsletter if you guys want get quarterly reports come out and just updates of what's happening.
Malama Huleia, MALAMAHULEIA.org. Second shirt, Malama Huleia. Awesome. Charles.
Well, I'd like to take this opportunity, first of all, to thank our guests for tonight, Peleke Flores and Mason Chock, Councilmember Mason Chock. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always, for me, it's, transplanting from Oahu and still learning what Kauai holds. And I tell you, there's always beauty around each corner. And I am so glad that both of you were able to share what treasure there is and what treasure can be lost if something is not done. But like you said, Mason, I think the stars are aligning, and I think something good will happen. To our viewers tonight, we had a lot of questions that come through, but I do want to say, please understand, and Mel said it perfectly. There's nothing wrong with the owners. They're just I mean, they could have pulled the rug out from everybody years ago, and they didn't. But it's just so, and we don't know what the reason is, but just this year, maybe because of the pandemic, they decided. I think they have to do something. But I believe too that if dialogue continues, looking at tax credits, looking at all these agencies that might show an interest to go in there, because again, I never thought I would ever say this, and this goes out to all of our viewers. I never thought I would ever say anything about a working classroom because I was not that studious type of individual. But I can see why, you know, musicians would have a place to kind of kapila down there just to get in contact with who they are and make some nice music. I mean, that would be a beautiful place. You just, you know, you have Iolani Palace. You just kind of walk inside, and that's a treasure too. This one is a treasure that can be open for everybody, and it's a greater thing in the making. And I think if we all can get our mental resources together to really push and pray hard, I think something good will turn out. So I want to thank the viewers for tuning in tonight. Mel?
Right on. Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Peleke and Mason. Appreciate you guys on very late notice to agree to come on. You know, that's what we want to do on this show: inform and educate. That's, you know, we just want to make sure that the accurate information is out, floating around, and not rumors. Now is not the time to be spreading rumors about this place. There's going to be no resorts there. There's not going to be any of that. You know, we all got to come together again as a community to preserve this resource, and we can do it. I always say, you know, Kauai, we got a lot of wealth on this island. We got a lot of wealth, and Mason, you know this, like everyone knows that. We got a lot of wealth. And wouldn't it be nice that we get that anonymous donation for the sole purpose of preservation of this resource, this asset, this cultural asset? You know, we talked about the fish and all of that. You know, the Samoan crab in that river, and that is beautiful. It's so delicious. If you never had the Samoan crab from Huli'ia, you never had Samoan crab. I mean, the memories for many of us, just go far back. So, uh, this is always a good resource for you guys, for your organization. You guys want to get the word out, please let us know. It's an open invitation for you guys to always, whenever you want to come on and share a battle cry, whatever you want to call it. That's probably not a good term. Yeah, not a good term. For your Aina warriors, yeah, just know you can always come on the show, guys. Tomorrow night we got Mayor Kawakami and Dr. Janet Berman to give us an update on vaccines and everything else relating to COVID. So make sure you join us tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Again, mahalo, you guys. Man, you guys doing a great job. Keep up the good work. We love you guys. Viewers, take care. God bless. You all stay safe. The most important thing. Love each other, guys. God bless.
Mahalo, mahalo.
Aloha.
Hey, aloha.